Okay, welcome everybody, and thank you all for such a warm and lovely reception. It is a real privilege to be here this evening with all of you. I'll start with a short opening prayer and Bhagavad Gita Jnana. Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Amba Tvamanusandathami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim Namostate Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullara Vindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Tela Purnaha Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraika Parnaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gitamritaduhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsasudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Hari Om. Okay. We are seeing, as our dear MG mentioned, we are seeing Bhagavad Gita over the 108 nights here across the whole of Guyana. And now we're in night number 89. That's coming close to the end of Bhagavad Gita. Where we are tonight, every night we're doing a few verses to finish all 700 verses. And tonight we are we're coming to the end of chapter 16. There are 18 chapters. So after this, there will only be 2 chapters remaining. So let me tell you a little bit about what is going on and what has happened in the chapter so far. Bhagavan Sri Krishna started this chapter without any questions from Arjuna. And he started to explain that there are 2 types of minds. 2 types of minds in this world. One type of mind has the quality of Devi Sampat. Devi Sampat is all the virtues like honesty and straightforwardness and dhanam, giving, and all the positive things. He gives examples. He lists 26 at the beginning of this chapter. That's not an exhaustive list. That is just some of the values that exist in this world. After that, Bhagavan Sri Krishna goes on now to describe Asuri Sampat. That's the second type of mind a person will find, which is filled with vices. Vices might be the easiest word to use there. Right? Lack of honesty, arrogance, hypocrisy, showing off, being fake, being excessively attached to sense enjoyment. That person who has these qualities has what is called as asuri sampat, the wealth of vices. Because with the wealth of virtues, we get joy, we get peace, we get happiness, we get contentment. And with the wealth of vices, we invite into our life sorrow and suffering and lack of peace. So Bhagavan Shri Krishna elaborately painted a picture of what a person who has these negative qualities looks like. And he does that so that it is like we can see, look like holding a mirror to see if I have any of those qualities in me. And after you hear these things, you wonder, but Bhagavan, I don't think that I have Devi Sampat. I'm not always honest. I'm not always straightforward. I'm not always kind. Sometimes I say harsh things to people. But at the same time, I don't think I'm that bad. Like, yes, I don't think I have arrogance, even though I like to hear my praise. I will be honest most of the time. But yeah, I lie a little bit, when I have to. There is sorrow and suffering in my life, but it is not excessive like you described. I love to enjoy, but not to the point where I overindulge. So I'm good, but I also don't mind being bad sometimes. This is who I am. I have a mixture of this Devi and Asuri Sampat, and they come out of me at different times. Bhagavan, what do you have to say about that? Well, that is how actually we all are in this Kali Yuga. Good and bad exist in every person's heart. So what we have to do is we have to ask ourselves, well, when these negative qualities arise, or when I do things that would not be considered divine, at that time, what do I feel? For example, do I respect the words of Mahatmas or Elon Musk? When I hear the words outside, I may listen to Elon Musk, but do I respect those words? Or do I respect the words of Mahatmas more? Then do I value my house and I value money and all of that, but do I value a big house and a big bank balance more than I value peace? Which one do I value more? When I lie, do I feel guilty, like I shouldn't have lied? Or do I justify, well, I had no other choice, I had to lie? Or when somebody praises me, do I feel like that praise belongs to me? Or do I feel shy to listen to that praise? I like to hear it, but at the same time, I know that really speaking, it is Bhagavan working through me. So I can't take it also. So which one am I? And what does my mind do? We're supposed to sit and listen to our mind, say whatever it says and do whatever it does. And we're supposed to have the integrity to ask ourselves, do I like what I'm hearing? Am I okay with the answers I'm getting when I look into my mind and I think about myself? And the answer, well, whatever the answer is, mind, you're so bad sometimes. That is not supposed to give us depression, like, oh no, now my life is doomed. Bhagavan described that, my life is going to be full of suffering. That is not the point of listening to the Asuri Sampat. The point is, if I see something in my personality that Bhagavan Shri Krishna highlighted, well then I should feel blessed that he said it to me so I can think about how I can remove it and I can change. That is the attitude with which we are supposed to open Bhagavad Gita, and we're supposed to study this chapter. Bhagavan Shri Krishna is highlighting tendencies we may have, and we have to see if I have them and how I can remove them if I have them. So when we go to satsang, it inspires us to think about ourselves, think about our minds, and ask ourselves if we are who we want to be. Like this, Bhagavan Shri Krishna describes this Asuri Sampat and Devi Sampat. The other thing is that somebody who has negative qualities or vices, that person is not doomed forever. You know, our Valmiki ji, who wrote the first Ramayana, he was a bandit before. He used to stop people who are walking through the forest and hold them up and steal their money. And one time he did that to Naraji. And in the presence of Naraji, something happened to him and he transformed into this great Mahatma that we know today as Valmiki ji. So having negative qualities is not bad, but doing nothing about them is the problem. So we see them and then we try to remove them. Like this now, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, in an effort to tell us not to be complacent when we find negativities in ourselves, he highlights in the next couple of verses what happens to people who have this asuri sampat, who have these vices and don't think there's anything wrong with having them or don't do anything to remove them. So let us chant now. Now we've reached verse number 19 in chapter 16. If you have your Gita, you can open it and follow along. We'll chant 19 and 20 together. What happens to people who have asuri sampat, negative tendencies? I will chant Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Everyone please repeat and then I'll chant the verse, okay? Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Shri Krishna Sharanam. Everybody. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Tanaham Dvishata Kruran Samsareshu Naradhaman, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Kshipam Yajasrama Shubhan Asuri Shveva Yonishu, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Asurim Yonimapannaha Mudha Janmani Janmani, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Mama Prapyaiva Kaunteya Tato Yantyatamam Gatim, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Boli Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki Jai. Tan Aham Kshipami. Bhagavan Shri Krishna, actually these are two really powerful verses. Tan Aham Kshipami. These people, I throw them. I throw them, I send them. Where? Who, first of all? Dvishata, Kruran, Naradhaman, Ashubhan. People who are always hating. You know, in modern language they say haters. Haters. And Kruran, these cruel, lowest of the low kind of human beings who are all inauspicious I throw them. Where do I throw them? Samsareshu, into samsara. And ajasram, continuously, over and over again, I throw them into samsara. But samsara is what we are already in. Right? So he clarifies. He says, Asurishu eva yonishu. I throw these people, or I send them into the wombs of asuras. They go into wombs of asuras, means they go and be born in asuri environments. Right? Now, what is Bhagavan saying? He throws people like that into asuri yonis, into wombs of asuras. Asuri yonis are, it's talking about a person who has this kind of cruel sentiment is born into a life of suffering. And the examples that are given is they get born as like lions and tigers and animals like that. You know? Just because a person is born as a human being does not mean that they will always be born as a human being. This is a very clear message that is given in our Upanishads. So this person is born into they find themselves born in an environment where they end up suffering, right? Not long ago, there was a great Mahatma called Chatambi Swamigal in South India. He was our Swami Chinmayananda's first guru, actually. He met him when Swami Chinmayananda was a very young child when he met him. And this Chatambi Swamigal, this Mahatma, he had the power where he could talk to animals. You know, some people, when they become, as they develop their spiritual qualities, one of the things that they develop is siddhis. So he had a siddhi, or a power where he could converse with animals. And somehow we're very interesting. You know, only when someone has some kind of external, great, special quality, we think they're a special Mahatma. Right? So he started to become very popular because everyone realized that he wasn't an ordinary being. So one day, a very wealthy businessman invited him for yajna. And he said, you know, Swamiji, you please come, I want to feed you and your disciples. I'm going to do a yajna and I want to feed you and your disciples. So this Mahatma said, okay, no problem. And that businessman said, so how many disciples are you going to bring? He said, maybe like 100. And that man said, oh, that's 100? That's all. That's nothing. Bring. No problem. Bring them and I will feed all of them. So the day came, and around midday at 12 o'clock, this now Chatambi Swamigal, he walks in alone with nobody. And so this person is thinking, you know, welcome, Hari Om, please come and sit. But where are the 100 people? I've cooked food for 100 people. He came and sat. You know, over here we use the parian leaf, but over there they use the banana leaf. So they put banana leaf on the ground. 100 seats set. And nobody has come. And he said, no, don't worry. They will come, they will come. Well, 10 minutes, 20 minutes passed, and still nobody was coming. So again he went and he said, where are your disciples? So Swamiji said, are you ready to serve? He said, yes, you please call them. So this Chatambi Swamigal made some sound. And suddenly 100 dogs came into the Yajnashala. Not like rowdy, barking, noisy dogs, very well disciplined dogs. And he said something to them. This is a true story I'm telling, huh? Happened some years ago only. And they went and they sat at the 100 seats that were set out. Now imagine you're there and you're going to serve 7 curry, waiting to serve to disciples. And in front of you, 100 dogs are sitting. That is what is going on. You imagine what would have happened to his pride. But anyways, they served food and these dogs ate the food. And at the end, Swamiji said something again, and these dogs carried all their leaves and went and they threw them away, and then they went. So this person said, you know, I don't understand what just happened. You know what he said? He said, actually, these dogs were just like you, corrupt businessmen. And because of their nature, they ended up being born as dogs. Now, means if as a human being you're barking whole day at everybody around you, what do you think is going to happen? Well, you'll be given a body where you can bark non-stop. Like that, right? So, depending on who we are, we find ourselves in a place where it matches our temperament. So, that is what Bhagavan is saying. Then he says, Asurim yonim apannaha. Now getting these asuri yonis, finding themselves in these places. Mudha janmani mam aprapya eva. These deluded people, they're deluded because they're totally confused. They think what they're doing is not wrong. Right? Birth after birth, they do not reach me. Now someone might be thinking, well, who cares if I don't reach Bhagavan? Bhagavan, I'm not trying to reach you. I'm trying to reach all my other things in life. But reaching Bhagavan means reaching peace, reaching true happiness, reaching contentment. They don't reach that. That is not what they get in this life. Right? Tato yanti adhamam gatim. And thereafter they reach even lower states after that. Now when you hear this kind of thing, you think, Bhagavan, Bhagavad Gita is supposed to be an uplifting scripture. But these are scary verses, and where's Karunanidhan, Prabhu Shri Ram? Where is the compassionate Bhagavan that we know? What kind of strong language are you using here, Bhagavan? You know what it is like. I don't know, you see all these kids watching TikTok and all nowadays, right? And they make all funny things also. So I watched one video someone showed me of a child in two different scenarios. You know when dad gets angry, that child sits there straight and they cry and one word and they listen to whatever he says and they go and then when mom is yelling and yelling, they're like dancing and watching TV and doing whatever they want. Because when mom says it's different. But when dad says, well, everyone listens to his serious voice and gets serious. So it's like here Bhagavan Shri Krishna is using his serious, scary voice, so we listen right away. Honestly, I was culprit to that thing too. My mom would come and try to wake me up in the morning and I'd be like, yeah, okay, mom, I'm going to wake up. And I would just hear my dad's footsteps and I would fly out of bed. When Bhagavan gets intense, we also get serious. So then how are we supposed to understand Bhagavan is compassionate when he's talking like this? It sounds like these people get punished forever. They keep going, into adhamam gatim, lower and lower births. They're doomed forever. It is not like that. See, there's a big difference. Our Sanatana Dharma is not like other religions. And in Sanatana Dharma, we don't go to Naraka forever. In other religions, they say you go to either heaven or you go to hell and you go there permanent. Right? But in Sanatana Dharma, it doesn't work like that. Is it possible for finite action plus finite action plus finite action to equal infinite result? If you have finite plus finite plus finite plus finite, mathematically, what are you supposed to get? Finite. So if somebody goes to a birth that is being described here because of something that they did, it will only be temporary. They go there for a period of time, they finish their karma, and then they come back, right? The other thing is, see, if you always do what you always did, there's that saying, no? Then you'll always get what you always got. So if someone is continuing as they are, then they will continue to get what they're right now getting, right? The interesting thing about this world, this clipboard here, if you leave it in the mandir for 2 months in the back somewhere. Say I forgot it after satsang and someone went and put it in the back. And for 2 or 3 months it was sitting there. Over time, no one is touching it, no one is doing anything. Will it get better? Will it stay the same, or will it get worse over time? Over time, if you do nothing, it will get worse. Correct or wrong? Every single thing in the universe is like that. You do nothing, and it gets worse. So if we do nothing with our mind, but Bhagavan, I'm not doing anything. Well, the doing nothing itself, it will get worse. It's such an interesting phenomenon, actually, right? So when we take care of our mind, then it is the only way that it gets better. So now if someone doesn't take care of their mind, well, this is where they will end up. The second thing is, Bhagavan punishes. He's saying, I throw these people into Naraka like this. No, Bhagavan is still compassionate. If there's a criminal who goes and does some crime, and he ends up now at court in front of a judge, and the judge asks, so what happened? And then everyone tells their story, and he did this and he did that, and then the judge says, okay, well, I give you 5 years in jail. I give you 5 years in jail for the crime you committed. Can the judge be blamed for giving that person 5 years in jail? Is it the judge's fault that they ended up in jail? The judge threw him into jail. That judge would have put hundreds of people in jail each week or each month, say. So he has to get the karma of throwing people into jail? Well, the judge sends somebody to jail is only a way of saying that the judge administered the punishment that the law had deemed fit for the crime that that person had done. In the exact same way, when Bhagavan says people who do bad things end up in bad places, it is just that their own karma is working itself out, and Bhagavan is sitting there like a judge making sure that everyone gets the results that they themselves invited to themselves. Gurudev Swami Chinmayana used to say, we are not punished for our sins. We are punished by our sins. One person went to court, and he happened to be there for the 5th time that month. And the judge looked at him and said, you again? I have seen you 5 times already. Why do you keep coming back? And he said, well, you are here too again. You are here too again. So what is the difference between us? When the judge administers the punishment, it is because the person called it upon themselves. Right? The other thing is, Bhagavan is the kind of judge who is absolutely fair. In society you'll find judges who, if it is their friend or their people, then they will let them go. Okay, no worries. You committed this terrible crime. That's okay. One day bail. That's all. But Bhagavan is not like that. His dwarpals, the people who stand outside Bhagavan Vishnu's door protecting the security guards, Jay and Vijay. Well, they had committed a crime because they stopped sadhus from entering to meet Bhagavan. And Bhagavan has a policy of open door. He has an open door policy. If a Mahatma comes, they do not need any permission at any time to come and meet him. But this Jay and Vijay had developed some arrogance about their position. So they stopped Mahatmas. Well, they got cursed to go and become Asuras and Rakshasas. And they're the ones who became Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, and they became Ravana and Kumbhakaran. And so it doesn't matter that they're Bhagavan's people. They have to face the consequences of their own actions also. But Bhagavan is so compassionate. He said, I will come to bring you back. Right? So there's compassion in all of that. The last thing in this, when a person is born in an Asuri yoni, well, it is built in such a way that they do not accumulate more papa. Can you imagine if every time a lion went and killed another animal, that is one more papa that they have committed? Well, they will be doomed forever, right? But it is built in such a way that whatever they do it instinctively, and they do not build any new papa karma. They're only washing away karmas. Naraka actually is like a washing machine. You put whatever you want in, and the only thing that happens is it comes out clean. Unless it is white clothes, then it defies that rule. But they don't create new papa. They just get rid of karmas. Now you tell me, if you have karma to stand in the sun all day, in the heat, thirsty, hungry, only working for other people, everything that you work for is taken away from you. You get none of what you worked for, right? And you have to do that for 50 years of your life. That is the karma that you've accumulated. Would you rather want to do that as a human being or as a tree? If you had a choice, would you rather do that as a tree or as a human being? Well, if I had a choice, I would want to be a tree to finish that karma, isn't it? Because that karma gets exhausted more effortlessly by the tree. So, being born in different yonis is actually compassion. Because you finish your negative karma, you don't accumulate more karma, and at the end of all of that, you come back to be a human to try again. That is Bhagavan's compassion, actually. Right? Now, hearing this, people start to think, okay, well, Bhagavan, I don't want to end up here. Can you tell again what are the qualities that a person has that sends them there? Bhagavan's like, hello, I just spoke for 18 verses on this. Where were you? No, Bhagavan, please tell again. But don't tell long things. Just tell very briefly so I can remember. My attention span is 5 seconds. Bhagavan, just tell briefly things I shouldn't do to make sure I don't end up here. So now Bhagavan tells 3 things. The 3, well, let's chant it and then we'll see. 21 and 22. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Everybody. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, 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 Trividham narakasyeedam dvaram nashanamaatmanah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Kama Krodhastatha Lobhah Tasmadetattrayam Tyajet. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Eter Vimukta Kaunteya Tamodvarastvibir Naraha. Hare Krishna,
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Acharatyatmana Shreyah Tato Yati Param Gatim.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki Jai. Trividam narakasya idam dvaram nashanam atmanah. There are 3 doors or paths or gates to naraka that are dvaram nashanam atmanah. They are doors to our self-destruction, to sorrow and suffering and misery, like that. 3 doors. You know, naraka is loosely translated as hell. But hell is not such a good translation for naraka. Naraka is a better word. Right? Naraka literally means there where a person goes to suffer. That is what naraka means. Some people live in naraka here in the world also. Right? Some people are born in environments where they have no food, no access to clean water, no access to hygiene, no access to a place to live. You know, there are so many people who live like that in the world right now, as we're speaking. Then there are people who have money that they cannot even count, but they live miserable lives. Have you not heard and seen on miserable lives they live? It's like the difference is they're just comfortably miserable. and that is worse, because if you have money, people expect that you better keep quiet and don't advertise your misery. What do you mean? You have money. Shush. You should be happy. Right? But they're miserable. That's naraka, is it not? Big, rich actors and all go and commit suicide because they're living in naraka inside. Right? So there, Bhagavan is saying there are 3 doors that lead us to this naraka. Naraka is not literally hell, eh? Someone had once given me a poster, and on that poster it was written, "There is no need to worry." The title was "Why Worry?" There is no need to worry. Have you all heard this? If you live, there is no need to worry. Okay. If you die, you will either go to heaven or hell. If you go to heaven, there's no need to worry. And if you go to hell, you will be so busy shaking hands with all your friends that you will have no time to worry. Well, naraka is not like that. Naraka is filled with worry and sorrow and suffering. You know, in our shastras, if you read the descriptions of different types of naraka, you will shudder. There's one type of naraka called Kumbipak. Have you heard of Kumbipak? They take you, and how they fry bara and pulari and cassava ball. They literally dip you in the oil and fry you. One little drop of oil flies out of the pot and touches us, and we say, "Ah!" Naraka. Different kinds of naraka. This is just one of them, right? Different types of naraka where you go and you suffer. Now, Bhagavan, okay, what are these doors? Because if you know the doors, then you'll make sure not to go, right? Well, he says, Kamaha, Krodhaha, Tatha Lobhaha. Desire, anger, and greed. And these 3 doors, they're like, one of them is huge, and 2 of them are a little smaller. The huge door is Kama. And the doors that slightly are next to Kama are Krodha and Lobha, anger and greed. So these are the 3 doors to hell, to Naraka. What is desire? Desire is this. You're driving down the road, the main public road, and you see a board. And on that board, the word catch is written. Have you seen? Catch. And some phrase is there like, you can't miss it, or you have to try it. Everybody knows catch, right? The chocolate. So you drive past, and your eye just sees it, and you're like, okay, and then you drive away. Then you drive a next time, and it's everywhere, you know? And you drive a next time. And you say, oh, catch. Then you drive another time. And you say, I wonder how that thing tastes, you know? And you drive another time. And then you think, I better taste this thing. And then you find yourself going to the supermarket to look for catch. And then they don't have it. Well, what will you say? What kind of supermarket is this? How come they don't have catch today? You know, people sold out of everything all the time. What kind of country is this? From not knowing what it is to complaining about the country. Desire is the feeling that after you've seen something being advertised or talked about that you didn't even know existed, you think, if I get this thing, I will be happy. And then it goes so strong to the point, if I don't get this thing, I will be miserable. That is how it evolves very quickly. If I don't have this, my life is not going to be happy. That is called desire. Right? Now, every single person has desires. Every single person. In fact, you cannot do anything in your life without desire. You cannot come to satsang without desire. You had to have a desire to say, let me go and see what is going on over there in the mandir today, isn't it? Desire had to be there to do anything in this world. But what is being talked about here is the insatiable, extrovert, insistent desires that lead us to do wrong things. Now, all the desires that you have, let us say you have 100 desires, just for mathematical ease, right? How many of those desires do you think get satisfied in the day? What percent of desires do you think, if you have 100 desires a day, how many of them will get satisfied in that day? 50? Or less? Or more? There's only 3 options. 50 or less or more. I'll ask, can you give me a little nod? 50? Less. Oh, I'm hearing 50 to less. Okay, so it's definitely not more. Okay? Okay, so 50 to less than 50% of desires do not get fulfilled. That means the other 50 or less or more get fulfilled. Is it? No. So half get fulfilled, half don't get fulfilled. Okay? Well, either way you're in trouble. Because if a desire does not get fulfilled, it turns into anger, which is door number 2. And if it gets fulfilled, it turns into greed, which is door number 3. So you are in trouble no matter what happens after a desire has entered your life. It is going to become anger if it is not fulfilled, and it is going to become greed if it is fulfilled. Anger means, everybody knows anger. There are some people who get so angry that you can see it in their eyes. You know what I'm talking about? And then you wonder, when we have to go and light aarti, do I even need the matches, or I can just take them and point their eyes there and the aarti will light? Like fire coming out of their eyes. You don't need any other fire. If I go near them, I will burn. Right? Everybody knows what we're talking about, and we will have that anger also in us at different times. It may not be so strong. Any kind of agitation is also considered as krodha. And when that comes, it makes us do papa. It makes us do wrong things. Then greed. Well, for greed also, people are ready to compromise on all their values to fulfill the desires that they have. Have you ever heard somebody, see, this is how greed works. You satisfy a desire, and a desire comes to enjoy it again. Have you ever heard anybody saying, I will eat one pulari and be satisfied for the rest of my life? One pulari. You know, the mom cannot fry the pulari fast enough. It fries and it comes out and it's gone, especially if there are young boys. Before it can reach the plate, it has finished. Right? Because no one has ever said, I will eat one pulari. That is the example of what greed looks like. You satisfy a desire, and that desire just says, well, satisfy me again, satisfy me again, satisfy me again. Greed. So Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, these three ought to be dropped. You know, one of the other problems with greed is greed. When a person has greed, and they think, that means they think that money is the most valuable thing, and they want more and more and more. And then they start to judge other people by that too. So now there was a brother and a sister, and it so happened that the sister they were well off. And it so happened that the sister got married into a family that started off well off, but you know things always don't go as you think. And her husband ended up losing all of his money, and they became poor, very poor. Well, when they became poor, this brother told her, I cannot invite you to my house for any gatherings anymore, because you will embarrass me in front of my wealthy friends. He told her to her face. It so happened that they won the lottery. You know, one rare person wins the lottery. Well, they won the lottery. And now she had more wealth than him. So at his next party, she got an invitation. And she went, wearing big jewelry and nice clothes and everything. Then the food came. And you know, when people like that throw parties, they throw a party to throw their money to show off. Right? So now fancy food came. See what she did. She took off her bangles and her necklace, and she started to feed them. And her brother looked at her like, what is wrong with you? Why are you embarrassing me? She said, hello, you did not invite me. You invited them. So let them eat your food. That is, really, we get so confused when we get taken over by these things, you know. But anyways, Bhagavan says we should drop these three. They ought to be dropped. If food is spoiled and you put it in your mouth and you taste that it is spoiled, what are you supposed to do? Say, Bhagavan, I'm not supposed to waste food? That thing is supposed to come out and get dropped, isn't it? So, in the same way, these three are doorways to our suffering. We're supposed to remove them from our life. Now Bhagavan says, Eter vimukta konteya tato dvaram tamo dvaras tribir naraha. Now a person who becomes free from these three, kama, krodha, lobha, desire, anger, greed, a person who becomes free from these gateways to naraka, well, this person, acharati atmanaha shreya, he starts following the path of shreyas, means the path of goodness, which is that which is good for him, he does that. And tato yati param gatim, then he goes and he gains the supreme goal of life. He gets infinite happiness as a result of dropping desire, anger, and greed. So now, so many questions. First of all, if you study Ramayana, you would this sounds familiar to a verse in Ramayana. In Ramayana, Vibhishan ji is telling Ravana that Kama, Krodha, Mada, Lobha, Nata, Naraka, Kepant. There are 4 doors to Naraka in Ramayana. These 3 that are mentioned here in Gita and 1 more. Mada, arrogance, because Ravana had so much of that. Right? Anyways, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, when a person drops these three, then that person ends up with joy. So then the next question will be, but how to drop them? I mean, we all know anger is not good. We all know greed is not good. We all know having strong desires is not good, but how to drop it? We start by thinking. Right? So think a little bit with me now about anger. There was one young boy, very smart, very brilliant, very friendly, very good looking. He had all goodness going for him. He only had one problem. He would get angry very quickly and he would snap at people. So his parents realized that something needed to be done because this is debilitating. This quality is debilitating. So his father said, you know what? From now, from this moment, every single time that you get angry, you're going to take a nail and you're going to hammer it in the fence. Every single time that you get angry. Now he was honest, so he actually did it. The first day, he took 37 nails and hammered them into that fence. 37. Right? The next day, it was 30. Then he started to think, it's more effort to go and nail a nail in the fence than to not get angry. So slowly, he started to control his anger. And one day he went to his dad and he was like, Dad, 0 nails today. I put 0 nails in the fence. And his father said, well, from today, every day that you don't get angry, you go and you pull out 1 nail from the fence. So he went, and in a few months, it took quite a few months to get through the nails, but a few months later, he finally told his dad, I have taken out every single nail from the fence. So his father said, okay, come. And he took him to stand in front of the fence now. And he said, what do you see? Well, that fence looked terrible. Holes everywhere. And his father said, you see, when you get angry at somebody, what it does is it leaves a hole in that person that you cannot fill back again. So that little message, it did something to him. Well, 2 things. 1, he realized that it's easier to not get angry. And 2, he realized that the impact of anger on other people is not something nice. And that made a difference in his life, right? But anyways, when we get angry, this is the technique. Bhagavan Shri Krishna had gotten angry at Sugriva because Sugriva had promised that after the rainy season finishes, he's going to help Bhagavan Shri Ram to find Sita Ji. Right? But Sugriva started to enjoy his life. You all know the story, right? Sugriva started to enjoy his life instead of going to help Bhagavan Shri Ram look for Sita Ji. So one day Bhagavan Shri Ram got angry. He said, I helped Sugriva, I killed Bali for him, and now he's not fulfilling his side of the deal. So he said, Lakshmana, Lakshmana, you go to Sugriva, and you tell him that the same arrow which killed Bali is still there in my quiver. Well, you all know Lakshmana, he's firebrand. He got excited, he stood up and he was ready to go, and Bhagavan Shri Ram said, wait. Go tomorrow. Means you're not supposed to make any decisions or do anything like that in the moment of anger. The technique to manage our anger is at that moment, you do nothing about it. You wait. If you have an opportunity to wait 24 hours to respond, you wait. If you have an opportunity to wait 1 hour, you take that 1 hour. If you have the opportunity to respond, to wait 5 seconds also, you take that. And in that few moments, your mind will slowly calm itself down and you will stop yourself from being angry. If you know anger is not something that is good for me. Right? So it is a dvara, it's a doorway to suffering. So better we give it up. And for greed, well, the solution for greed, easy solution for greed is contentment. Instead of looking at what we don't have, we turn to look at what all we already have. We just think, from the time that from where our ancestors came and what they had to what we have nowadays. Every single person is like living the life of a king and a queen compared to that. Right? If we just put things in perspective, it checks our greed. Right? So like this, we go on thinking about how these qualities are not nice qualities to have because they lead me to suffering. And we pray to Bhagavan, please help me to remove them from my life. Right? But it starts by controlling our desires. Okay. Let us chant now verse 23 and 24. Bhagavan has a really wonderful thing that he has to say. You can go one higher, I think. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shastra vidhimutsrujya vartate kamakaratah. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Nasa siddhim avapnoti, na sukham na param gatim. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavasthito. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Nyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartumiharhasi. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki Jai. Now Bhagavan comments on people who don't listen to what is said in the scriptures about this kama, krodha, lobha and all the other negativities. Ya shastra vidim utsrajya vartate kama karataha. The person who discards the injunctions of our scriptures and acts and lives prompted by desires. You know, whatever their mind says they should do, they just do it. Whatever time the mind tells them to get up, they will get up. When the mind says, I'm hungry, they will go and eat. Like that. They'll do whatever their mind wants. They won't listen to what is said by Shastra. Nasa siddhim avapnoti. That person does not gain any great result in this world. Have you seen people who are indisciplined? You have two students. One is disciplined. They wake up on time, they go to sleep on time, they study on time, they do all the work properly, they eat at food time, they keep their place neat, they know when their homework is due, they finish all of it. And then you have another student who's totally indisciplined. Wake up when they want, go to sleep when they want, eat when they want, eat snacks when they want, study when they want, don't study when they want, play how much video games they want. Who is going to be more successful? Well, in this ordinary world itself, if a person goes by their whims and fancies and fulfills their desires and lives like that, What great goal are they going to get in this life? So that, Bhagavan says, they don't get any great goal. The second thing is they don't know sukham, no joy. Because there's always fear every time they're doing what they're doing. And they won't reach Svarga also to get that joy. Then, na param gatim. Forget the highest goal of life that is being talked about, infinite permanent happiness. You have anger and greed and desire, you forget about permanent happiness and reaching God, like that. Tasmat, therefore, shastram pramanam te. Our scriptures are supposed to be our authority, karya akarya vyavastito, in understanding what we should do and what we should not do. Shastra is the authority in telling us what to do and what not to do. You know, this word pramana is very interesting. Have you ever gone to a event where they've served a whole set of food, and you go down the line and you think, wow, this food looks so good. This food looks delicious. And everyone has their own favorite thing in their mind, right? So you see some fried rice, and you see some macaroni, and you see some salad, and you see some chunks, or whatever is there spread out, right? And you think, fried rice is my favorite. And you go and you take a whole set because it looks delicious. Then you reach the next thing and you take that too. And anyways, you fill your plate. It is so full and you wonder, I'm going to be so full after I finish this. Then you sit and you take your first bite. And you wonder what this thing is that you're eating. Because it tastes terrible. Has it not happened to you? Where you've seen food that looks delicious but tastes terrible, and now you're stuck with it in your hand, and people are watching you, and you don't know what to do, and you don't know how to hide it also, because it's not in a leaf which you can just fold up and pretend it's finished. You're stuck. Because the reason is, because the authoritative sense that tells you whether something tastes good or not is not your eyes, it is your tongue. So if you use your eyes to tell you whether something tastes good, whose fault is that? Now eat it and suffer. The eyes are the authority on something else. The eyes are the you can't take this thing and close your eyes and do this and be like, this feels green. What do you mean this feels green? Green doesn't have a feeling, right? Or this sounds yellow. It sounds yellow. What does yellow sound like? Yellow doesn't sound like anything. Yellow only looks like something. So now if somebody is trying to decipher color without their eyes, are they not going to be mistaken? Of course. In the exact same way as the eyes are the authority for color, and the tongue is authority for taste, and the ears are authority for sound, the scriptures are the authority for what is dharma and what is adharma. What we should do and what we should not do. Not what our friends in society tell us what is good and what is bad and what is right and what is wrong, and oh my God, you don't allow your children to do this, but all children are allowed to do this. Society is not supposed to dictate that. Scripture is supposed to dictate that. What is a student supposed to do according to the scriptures? A student in brahmacharya stage is supposed to go and focus on study of three things. They're supposed to not only study all the things in school, they're supposed to understand themselves. Students come out of school not knowing what makes them angry and what makes them frustrated and what food makes them feel sleepy and how to talk to adults. They don't know anything like that, right? And we're supposed to know about ourselves. We're supposed to know about this world. This world is made of pairs of opposites. Whether we like it or not, there's going to be joy and there's going to be sorrow. We're supposed to know that. We're supposed to know things don't last forever. We're supposed to know that Jagadishvara, Bhagavan, is all-pervasive. And we're supposed to know things about this world like that. But we don't listen to Shastra about what the purpose of student life is. And we go and we spend it doing all other kinds of things. See, people are following scriptures less nowadays in deciding what is right and wrong. Are people happier or more sorrowful in today's day and age? Happier or more sorrowful? More sorrowful. Well, when they were following scriptures, they were very happy. Now, when they don't follow scriptures, they think they will be more happy, but it's the exact opposite. It's because of this reason. It is the scriptures that are the authority on what is dharma and what is adharma, what I should do and what I should not do. And if I don't follow it, that is like me letting the world tell me looking at the world and saying, this sounds yellow. This sounds good. This philosophy that you're telling me sounds good. Well, it doesn't guarantee happiness. In fact, it guarantees sorrow. Right? So Bhagavan is saying, we have to live our life according to what the scriptures guide. Then the scriptures are the authority. Then the next thing he says is, Nyatva shastra vedan oktan karma kartum iha arhasi. Once you understand what is said by the scriptures about what you should do and what you should not do, right, then you should do that. We're a very interesting thing. Do you know that junk food is unhealthy? Or no? Move your head at least, please. Yes? You know junk food is unhealthy? Is it enough to know? Knowing that junk food is unhealthy makes sure you're healthy? Hey, I know junk food is unhealthy, you know? So I shouldn't get sick. You have to stop eating the junk food. You have to put that knowledge into practice. It's not enough to say junk food is unhealthy. You know, exercise is important. And then you sit there on the couch all day or in the hammock whole day. Is it enough to tell everybody exercise is important? Oh, well, I mean, you can tell, but it is not enough to transform your life. In the same way, we know, something like, you know it is good to wake up early. Everybody knows it is good to wake up early. Even people who argue about waking up late, right? Like, there was one father who is trying to tell his son, you know, you should wake up early. He said, you know, beta, the early bird catches the worm. And that child said, you see what happens to the worm when he wakes up early? Opposite logic. Anyways, it is not enough to say or know waking up early is good for you. Right? But now see what happens when that alarm rings in the morning. You know it is good to wake up. But what happens? And then 5 hours later, you're like, what? Okay, not 5, maybe 2 hours later. Right? You know, the danger in knowing something but not following it is this. I know it is good to wake up early, right? And I say tomorrow, I'm going to wake up at 5 o'clock. Because I know in the morning my mind is fresh, I'm more efficient, I get so much studying done, whatever, I get so much work done. 5 o'clock I'm going to wake up from tomorrow. At 5 o'clock the alarm rings and I don't wake up. And then I feel bad. You feel bad, right? Well, I said I would wake up and then I didn't wake up. Tomorrow for sure. Well, tomorrow you set the alarm again. And again you don't wake up. After 5 days of not waking up, is it not true that you say, well, I still finish all my work even though I wake up late? Now you justify why you don't need to wake up early anymore. So you had knowledge about what was good. Then your action did not meet it. Then what happened is your knowledge changed to meet what your action really is. So whatever you do, your intellect starts to live at that level only, right? Our intellect starts following our actions. So that is like, you know what it is like? Everybody, I mean in Guyana you don't need GPS to go anywhere. You just have to know which direction to drive and you reach the village And then you ask them, where is the mandir, if it is not on the public road, and someone will tell you. So nobody uses GPS over here. You know, when we were organizing this 108 nights, Bhagavad Gita Yajna, I had not been to Guyana and I did not know how how things worked and how the villages are and all of that. So I started to ask the people on the phone one by one each mandir, you know, so what is the address of the mandir? Because in Canada, every place has an address. 2503 Lark Street or something. And then you put that in the GPS and then you go and find that place. So I would ask, you know, what is the address? And they would tell me the mandir name. And I'd be like, no, but the address. And they're like, but that's the address. And then it's only when I came here that I understood what it means. Well, that's the address. Right? But if you go anywhere else, you have to put the GPS on. Now the GPS is telling you to drive straight. And you start to drive straight. But it so happens that you're driving straight the other way. Right? Like, you're supposed to be going to Berbice, but you're driving towards Parika. Then the GPS tells you, please make a U-turn. Nicely, the auntie on GPS tells you, please make a U-turn. And you ignore her. And you keep driving. Then she says, in 500 meters, make a U-turn. Then you ignore it. Then she says, in 300 meters, make a U-turn. Then you ignore it. And you just keep ignoring her. Like you reduce the volume and turn it off, and you keep ignoring her, and you keep driving. And in your mind, you think you're going to reach Berbice. You're driving and you're ignoring her and you think you're going to reach Berbice because I'm driving in a straight line. That's craziness, isn't it? Well, in the exact same way, we have something called a Guru Parampara system, a different GPS. And this Guru Parampara system is telling us what the Shastras are saying about what we should and we shouldn't do. And we are listening, but we are going in our own direction. Even though it is saying, turn around, your joy is in the other direction. We're like, yeah, I'm going here. We want joy, but we're going towards sorrow. Bhagavan is saying that Shastra is the pramana. Our scriptures are supposed to tell us what we should and we should not do if our goal is happiness. So it is up to us. Everyone, see, at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is going to tell Arjuna, I have told you what will happen if you do your duty, and I have told you also what will happen if you don't do your duty. Now, yatha ichchasi tatha kuru. As you wish, you do. And not like a parent who like gets fed up and says, well, do what you want, but they really don't mean it. He actually means, as you wish, you do. You are free to do whatever you want, but you should know, if I follow scriptures and I listen to what Shastra says about what is good and bad and right and wrong and how to live my life, well, the result is joy. And if I don't listen to it, then the result is sorrow. So if I want joy, I should listen. And if I don't want joy, then I don't need to listen. Right? If I want to be healthy, then I should eat healthy food. But if I don't care about being healthy, I'll eat how much junk food I want, no problem. No one can stop me. I have my own money. I can go to the Chinese shop and buy whatever I want and eat it in front of you also. It is up to you what you want, Bhagavan is saying. If this is your goal, then this is the way to reach your goal. And like this, he ends chapter 16 of this Bhagavad Gita that highlights the great qualities in a person's mind and the terrible vices that lead us to sorrow and suffering. So now he has laid it out for us. He has held a mirror up to our mind. There is desire, there is greed, there is anger, there is jealousy, there are so many negative tendencies. And we just have to decide, am I ready to admit I have them so I can remove them? Or am I not ready to admit that I have them? Like this, chapter 16 ends, and now tomorrow chapter 17 will start. And triggered by this thought that Bhagavan has just said, about how Shastra is the authority on what we should do and we should not do, Arjuna has a question. And that is a most super phenomenal question that applies to us in today's day and age, but we will see that question tomorrow. His question, I'm not going to give a spoiler alert, you have to wait till tomorrow, right? Tomorrow we will be at Windsor Forest, Dharma Sumat Satsang Mandir, and satsang starts at 7:30. Is Windsor Forest close to here? Yeah. Well, you're all invited to come in person and join us as we continue satsang. We will be on the West Coast and East Bank Essequibo. I got that right? East Bank Essequibo. We will be on West Coast and East Bank Essequibo for the next 3 weeks almost. So please see the schedule and see if you would like to join any of the nights. You're very welcome to join. We will be culminating this momentous 108 nights Bhagavad Gita Yajna at the Gandhi Youth Cricket Ground on May 3rd, which is a Saturday, at 5 p.m. And you're all invited. We hope that you can all make it and be present with us as we celebrate this momentous occasion of 108 nights of Gita across the whole of Guyana. It will be so wonderful to have representation from all the mandirs that we went to and come together to celebrate this Sanatana Dharma that is our heritage. Right? Together celebrating it. So 5 p.m. there will be satsang, there will be a grand finale conclusion, and there will be presents for every family, and there will be dinner. So we will request an RSVP, and everyone who's able to, we would love to see you over there. Okay? That is happening Saturday, May 3rd. Then, across Chinmay Mission Guyana is now, Chinmay Mission is a teaching organization specialized in teaching all ages and all our different things in Shastra, chanting, meditation, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Upanishad, Sanskrit, etc. And so we have multiple classes going on that will be starting for all ages from May 12th. If there's anyone who's interested, we will have some classes online as well. And we're looking to do camps for children and youth across the country also, so that we can all benefit from this wonderful tradition that is our own. Right? So information will be coming. You're all welcome to join at any time that you like. I'll tell one final announcement. Chinmay Mission also has what is called a Vedanta course. It is a 2-year training program in a Gurukul style. So a person goes to live in an ashram for 2 years and has class every single day, no holidays, no weekends, no breaks. From 5:30 in the morning, classes start, and they go until 8 p.m. at night. Every single day. And you do meditation, Vedic chanting, Sanskrit, Vedanta, Ramayana, chanting, puja, everything in that time. And at the end of 2 years, there is such a clarity about the purpose of life and what our scriptures say that you come out different, So if that is something that is of interest, the next course will be starting on October 2nd in Trinidad. Chinmay Mission offers this course in English in Mumbai and in Trinidad. Swami Prakashananda Ji's course will be starting on October 2nd this year. There's an application process. You have to be 30 years and under, you have to have a university degree, and you have to be unmarried. And if you apply and you pass the interview, the whole course is sponsored. So if you know anybody who may be interested in this kind of thing, you please tell them, because it empowers them to understand Sanatana Dharma for themselves and then go out and share it with others in the authentic way that our rishis have given it in this Guru Parampara system. Right? All right. A very special thank you to Lenora Hindu Mandir. It has been such a special joy to be here. Thank you to Panditji, to our president, to Dhiramji, to everybody who got together to organize. Thank you for having us and hosting this 89th night here today. I will pass it back now. We will do Aarti and then I will pass it back, okay? Please stand for Bhagavad Gita Aarti. जय भगवद गीते मैया जय भगवद गीते हरि कमल विहारिणी हरि कमल विहारिणी सुंदर सुपुनीते ओम जय भगवद गीते जय भगवद गीते मैया जय भगवद गीते हरि कमल विहारिणी हरि कमल विहारिणी सुंदर सुपुनीते ओम जय भगवद गीते कर्म सुमर्म प्रकाशिनी कामासक्ति हरा मया कामासक्ति हरा तत्त्वज्ञान विकासिनी तत्त्वज्ञान विकासिनी विद्या ब्रह्म परा ओम जय भगवद गीते निश्चल भक्ति विदायिनी निर्मल मलहारी मया निर्मल मलहारी शरण रहस्य प्रदायिनी शरण रहस्य प्रदायिनी सब विधि सुखकारी ओम जय भगवद गीते राग द्वेष वेदारिणी कारिणी मोद सदा मया कारिणी मोद सदा भव भयहारिणी तारिणी भव भयहारिणी तारिणी परमानंद प्रदा ओम जय भगवद गीते आसुर भाव विनाशिनी नाशिनी तमरजनी नाशिनी तमरजनी देवी सद्गुणदायिनी देवी सद्गुणदायिनी हरि रसिका सजनी ओम जय भगवद गीते समता त्याग सिखावनी हरि मुख की बानी मैया हरि मुख की बानी सकल शास्त्र की स्वामिनी सकल शास्त्र की स्वामिनी श्रुतियों की रानी ओम जय भगवद गीते दया सुधा बरसावनी मातु कृपा की जय मैया मातु कृपा की जय हरि पद प्रेम दान कर हरि पद प्रेम दान कर अपनो कर लीजय ओम जय भगवद गीते जय भगवद गीते मैया जय भगवद गीते हरि कमल विहारिणी हरि कमल विहारिणी सुंदर सुपुनीते ओम जय भगवद गीते ओम जय भगवद गीते ओम जय भगवद गीते मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुडध्वजः मंगलम पुंडरीकाक्षं मंगलायतनो हरिः त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव ॐ पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते वशिष्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय हर हर नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव हरि ओम तत्सत।